To prepare for the first quiz, let's just go over some example questions and solve them. If you feel comfortable with C, this is probably a review. If you want to see how I go about solving problems, here are a couple examples. Okay, let's write a function that returns the average of an array of floats. Then let's make a structure, this is unrelated, that stores the name of a location, the latitude and longitude of that location. So basically an array of chars and two floats. And let's write a function that fills one element of that structure. We'll do it two ways. We'll use a pointer and we'll use the variable itself. And then last one, we'll ask the user for a number from 0 to 5 and store 10 of them. We'll keep asking until we get 10 valid numbers from 0 to 5. I pulled up Invest because I might want to copy and paste some stuff out of it. So first one, let's take the average of an array of floats and return it. So in int main, first let's just make that array of floats. So float, I'll call it f, I'll give it 6 values, and I'm just going to hard code it. So 1.2, 2.3, 3.4, 4.5, 5.6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.7. Okay, not exactly random. Now, I want to make a function that's going to receive this array and then return the average. So I'll first make my prototype. These are all floats, so I'm going to make the function return something of type float. I'm going to call it av. And here I have to decide, how am I going to receive this? I'm going to receive an array, and I don't necessarily know how long it is. So the first thing I should probably do is I should get the array as a pointer. And I'll get how many things are in there. Now let's go write the function. So I'm going to receive a pointer of type float and an integer len. And it's probably worth pointing out here that in the prototype here, it wasn't required to put the names. Those don't have to match this. Okay, so how should I do this? I will make a float a that's going to store the average. I will have a for loop. 0 I less than the length. We'll go over each element. Before I use I need to declare it. Okay, so how should we take the average? Let's just sum up a is going to be equal to a plus f of I. So remember that f is the pointer to the entire array, so f of I is going to start at 0 and go to the last element. And I need to initialize a as 0, otherwise it might be random. And I can say a is equal to a divided by the length. It gets me the average, and I can return a. Okay, so we'll go back here and we'll say, let's call average with float, and we know that there are 6 things in it. And then we will printf the average is %d, and I won't try to limit how many things there are. We'll call the variable we're saving as a. That means I probably have to say int a, and a equals, and it's not an int, it's a float. And if I want to be, complete, I'd say return 0. We're done. We could leave that out. Okay, so I'll save that. I will. I'm already in the folder that contains this. It's not formatted super well, but I'm pretty sure in there. So I could say gcc This is ave.c and output, call it ave. So apparently I'm not in the right place. Where are we? 333. Unless 333. Okay, GCC is installed. What else am I doing right here? I'll try again. It should be alphabetical. ave.c should exist there. Let's try again. GCC ave.c -o, call it ave. Alright, I must have spelled something wrong. And we'll call it ave. And that's fun. Printed something negative and very, very large and not a float. Probably because I did a %d, which is for integers, not %f, which is for floats. We will try again. Okay, the average is 3.95. That looks pretty good. If I wanted to go nuts, I could say, let's format so that I always have 6 characters and 3 things after the decimal point. And we'll see how that compares. Okay, so we truncate, we get rid of some of the zeros. Cool. Okay, so takeaway here. If you're sending an array to something, send the pointer and send the length. Okay, next problem. Let's make a structure that stores a location's name and 2 floats, and then let's write a function that asks the user to give us data that will go there. We won't check to make sure it's valid. All right, so I'm calling this location.c. I have my typed out struct. I'm going to say char name. We'll give it as many as 50 letters in this name, and we'll say float lat and float longitude. That's our structure. I'm not going to call it investment. I'm going to call it place. That's the new name of my variable. So let's make one. Place P. Now, if I wanted to fill this manually, I could say place, or actually P dot name of 0 is C, and I could slowly write out Chicago. That's annoying. And I could say P dot lat is, I don't know, whatever latitudes and longitudes look like. Okay, so I've kind of initialized this. Now I can try to get from the user some values. So let's say I'll ask my user, enter a name, latitude, and longitude. And then I will scanf. So first we're going to get a string, so that's a %s, and then we're going to get 2 floats. And now I have to put them into P. So how would I do that? I could say p.name. That is the pointer to the character array that the string will go into. That's good. Okay, I can say p.lat and p.long. But remember, these have to be addresses, so I will say ampersand. So give me the address of those 2 places. And then we'll try to print it back. You said %s, %f, %f, /r/n. And we have p.name, p.lat, p.long. Okay, how's that look? P location.c, the output, I'll just call it look. Cannot spell today. Location.c, look. Okay, enter name. Chicago is at 3.2 and 4.5. Okay, looks pretty good. Try again. Probably doesn't count because I initialized some of those things like that. So we'll enter Milwaukee is at 7.8 and -10. Okay, so I would say this is, I didn't write it as a function, but this is fine. Let's do it another way. So let's say we have a pointer to our place. So I'll call it pp, the pointer to p. And I'll say pp is equal to the address of p. Okay, so now pp points to p. And we could do the same thing here. We could say p gets, we have the pointer, so we can use the arrow. And I'll just comment those out temporarily. And it says you are not using a pointer. Try again. So this is interesting. It tried to print the string. My string did not end in a 0, so it just started printing characters. That's kind of expected since I didn't really put in a full name. Let's try to do our scanf. PP arrow name. PP arrow latitude. So the question is, do these guys need ampersands? Let's try it without and see what happens. Nope. So something's definitely not ending. So I'm going to Control-C, kill it. So what we probably did with there was tried to change memory that we weren't allowed to. I'm guessing that that thing's killed now. Great. Okay, let's do our last problem. Ask the user for a number from 0 to 5. Let's store them until we get 10 of them. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of variables here. Let's say we have our numbers that are stored, and we're going to have eventually 10 of them. Let's keep track of how many we have. We'll call it index. So how about a while loop? While index is less than 10. So while we don't have 10, let's printf enter a number from 0 to 5. Scanf, we're expecting one integer, and we need to put it, we'll put it into some kind of temporary variable. So let me give the address of a temporary variable, and I'll go declare that temporary variable. We'll say if temp is greater than or equal to 0, and temp is less than or equal to 5. We will put it in stored. Gets temp and index plus plus. And if they didn't type the wrong thing, we'll spam them. And if it was good, we'll say good job. Okay, so initially index is 0. We ask for a number from 0 to 5. We put it into a temporary variable. If it is acceptable, we stick it in our array. We add 1. If it's not, we don't add 1 to the index. We go through. Once we're done, we will let's print what the array is. So we'll say printf Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, enter a number from 0 to 5. 4. They got stored. 3, 2, 1, and 0. And 7. Oh, didn't like that. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh. Okay, so I think this pretty much worked. Got the one weird thing there where I hit enter before entering a number. Didn't seem to choke on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and all within 0 to 5. And one thing that would probably be smart is I have a lot of 10s hard-coded in here. That should probably be a pound to find. I'll just call it num, and let's make it this time 6. And we'll try again. I think that's all the 10s. And there's 6 numbers. Okay, so this is good practice with for loops and while loops. Remember to add 1 to your indices, and we have a variety of ways of checking if numbers are inside ranges. Okay, so that's all for this video. We'll see how the quiz goes.